It is November 25th, 2016. This is the Watchman News, and I'm Mike Callahan. There is an ongoing call for veterans to stand with those at Standing Rock, okay? I would like to, and this is on me, I would like to extend this, not to just veterans, which, this group also contains mainly veterans, but also to militia. They need numbers out there, folks. They need numbers out there, and they need variety out there. They need to be able to show the pipeline owners that they have a lot of unity, okay? Which is kind of a little bit of something that I want to mention before I get any further. I normally don't ask people to share videos because I figure you're, consenting adults. If a message that I say resonates with you, you're going to share it, So, but I'm asking you this time to please share this, please. I want to point something out. On social media, and this is before I get to the report. I got a report that I'm going to be doing here, right here, so just hang tight. On social media, after the evening to where water protectors were assaulted in an unbelievable manner, Sophia Wilansky was permanently injured. She's going to have issues with that no matter what for the rest of her entire life. I've seen a lot of stuff get started on social media, and it was a lot of a divide between militia and ranchers and the water protectors that doesn't need to be there. And I kept speaking out about it, and I kept trying to talk about it a little bit. And I just couldn't understand. I couldn't understand why people couldn't just kind of put down their differences and agree that, destroying our water sources, desecrating sacred lands, those are bad things. And that's all there is to it. There's no two sides to that. Those are bad things. And I've been searching ever since, because in my mind, I could not see an elder agreeing to be divided. I couldn't see that. Elders are wiser than that, much, much wiser than that. And so I'd been searching in my own mind and on social media and everywhere for an answer to that division, and I think I got that answer today. Today there was a small press conference, and there was a gentleman there, a Native American, that spoke up. And, he said sometimes you see people do things or say things that we're not necessarily in line with. And you need to understand that those people aren't healed. That resonated with me. That made sense. So, to those of you that may be ranchers, to those of you that may be militia, to those of you that may be vets, if you do get a negative attitude from individuals towards your willingness to get involved and help in any way that you can, please understand that those individuals are not healed. They have some healing to do. So that's what the gentleman had asked everyone to say when they encounter that, and so that's why I'm relaying that message. Okay? So here's the article, and it's from a website called Reverb Press. I will put the link to this down in the description of the video, and I will also put, there's a Facebook event page for the Veterans Stand for Standing Rock. I will put that link down in the description of this video as well. So now to the story from Reverb Press. Here comes the cavalry. Meet the veterans getting ready to deploy to Standing Rock. Veterans continue to serve their country at Standing Rock. There's a planned deployment to Standing Rock scheduled for December 4th, but these men and women will be standing with the citizens protesting desperately to keep their lands and water clean. These veterans believe that retiring their uniforms doesn't mean they're exempt from serving and protecting their country. They are outraged over the Dakota pipeline and further outraged over the treatment of the people trying to stop it. Wes Clark Jr. is the man behind a 3-day deployment of U.S. military veterans to the Standing Rock Sioux Reservation. The standoff between the protesters and the law continues to escalate, resulting in horrific injuries to protesters. He is also a former Army officer who is openly and thoroughly disgusted with the violence being inflicted upon his fellow Americans. First Americans have served in the United States military, defending the soil of our homelands, at a greater percentage than any other group of Americans. There is no other people more deserving of veteran support. The standoff between protesters at Standing Rock and law enforcement-backed security personnel has grown so violent that it triggered a United Nations investigation into potential human rights abuses. And to Clark, it seemed obvious that veterans should continue their service to their country by stepping up and stepping in. Most civilians who've never served in uniform are gutless worms who have never been in a fight in their life. So if we don't stop it, who will? Nonviolent advocates and warriors. Joining Clark in the deployment to Standing Rock is Michael A. Woods, Jr., a former Marine and retired police officer. Woods left the force in 2014 in order to advocate openly for national police reform. Together, he and Clark have formed Veterans Stand for Standing Rock. The two hope to draw scores of veterans along with firefighters, ex-law enforcement officers, and others to Standing Rock for their deployment. The purpose, they state, is to prevent progress on the Dakota Access Pipeline and draw national attention to the human rights warriors of the Sioux tribes. Both men state clearly they are ready and willing to take a bullet for the cause, and they believe should be of critical importance to any patriotic American, and, considering their background, there is no reason to doubt them. To Wood, this is simply living up to the oath he took in the U.S. Marine Corps. This country is repressing our people. If we're going to be heroes, if we're really going to be those veterans that this country praises, well, then we need to do the things that we actually said we're going to do when we took the oath to defend the Constitution from enemies, foreign and domestic. Phyllis Young, a Sioux tribal elder, is the one who got Clark initially involved. Young, who grew up on Standing Rock Sioux Reservation, believes the future resides in their fight. Mother Earth's axis is off, and it's never going back. And if we have to help keep it in balance for as long as we can, I am a mother and a grandmother. Those are my credentials to ensure a future with clean drinking water, a future of human dignity, human rights, and human survival. After hearing of a military veteran making a name for himself as a strong ally for environmental conservation, she approached him. Clark went to work, yet much of what he attempted never panned out. He attempted to assemble a legal team for the Standing Rock Reservation inhabitants. He contacted Independent Diplomat, a non-profit organization that helps governments navigate complex diplomatic processes, but none of it went anywhere. I pulled all the levers, and none of them worked, Clark said. It was then he decided to bring his fellow veterans, lots of veterans who had spent their lives putting themselves in danger for their love of country, to protect their own. And this battle would be no different. Clark did explain that the plan is to maintain a non-violent presence. We're not going out there to get into a fight with anyone, Clark Jr. says. They can feel free to beat us up, but we're 100% non-violent. In fact, in the operations orders the two wrote, under the section titled Friendly Forces, it states the following. We are there to put our bodies on the line, no matter the physical cost, in complete nonviolence to provide a clear representation to all Americans of where evil resides. The document also included a link to a GoFundMe campaign, which also has raised nearly $20,000 of its $100,000 goal. The funds will be used solely to help volunteers with transportation costs and bailing volunteers out of jail when needed. Now, I will also include, even though it's in the article, I will go ahead and include the link to that GoFundMe campaign as well. This article is kind of outdated as far as the amount. They've actually raised just under $316,000 of their $500,000 goal. So they're really coming a long way here. Okay, the Business Insider fleshes out their plan for the deployment on December 4th. On December 4th, Clark Jr. and Wood Jr., Along with a group of veterans and other folk in the bravery business, as Woods Jr. puts it, 500 total is the goal, but they're hoping for more. We'll muster at Standing Rock. The following morning they will join members of the Standing Rock Sioux tribe, including Young, for a traditional healing ceremony. With an eye toward the media, old military uniforms will be donned so that if the veterans are brutalized by the police, they are brutalized not as ordinary citizens, but as people who once served the government they are protesting against. Then body armor, earplugs, and gas masks will be issued to those who didn't bring their own. Bagpipes will play, and traditional Sioux war songs will be sung. The music will continue as everyone marches together to the banks of the Missouri. On the other side, which a line of guards in riot gear will be standing ready with their rifles, mace, batons, and dogs. Then, the veterans and their allies, or at least the ones who are brave enough to, will lock arms and cross the river in a massive line for their first encounter with the opposing forces. The ultimate goal, the two veterans say, is to make it to the drilling pad and surround it. To do so, they will have to pass through lines of guards who have, thus far, been successful in stopping other such attempts, through the use of brutal force. But with body armor and gas masks, as well as a cadre of trained veterans, this attempt may be harder to stop. Wood and Clark are willing to go to whatever lengths it may take. We'll have those people who will recognize that they're not willing to take a bullet, and those that recognize that they are, says Wood. It's okay if some of them step back, but Wes and I have no intention of doing so. The Joint Chiefs of Staff label the climate emergency as the #1 security threat to the country, and they've been labeling it that for years, Clark says. All you need to do is put an overlay on any map in the world where there is a water and crisis, and you're going to see massive political violence in that location. And unless we act, we're going to be dealing with that exact same situation right here in the United States. To them, this is nothing less than war. So again, I will put all the links down in the description of this video. I'll put the link to this article, I'll put the link to their Facebook event page, and I will put the link to their GoFundMe campaign. So please spread the message loud and clear, and let's try to make 500 veterans a small number. Thank you.